G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Root to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play My Sweet Lord by George Harrison, which is an awesome acoustic tune that also has some great slide guitar parts to learn as well. For the rhythm guitar, we'll need a capo on the 2nd fret of our guitar. And in the second half of this video, I'll teach you how to play the lead guitar parts with a slide, but also without a slide, just in case you don't have one lying around. If you want to master your chords back and front, then be sure to head over to guitarsrootohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Finally, this video teaches you one song, but if really understanding and learning the guitar is something you've always wanted to do, but you didn't know where to start, then be sure to check out the Guitars Root to Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so let's start with all the rhythm guitar that's playing on the acoustic. Now, the rhythm for this song is actually quite simple. There's just 2 main chord progressions that we need to learn, a couple of smaller chord progressions that are used throughout the key change, but that's pretty much it. So let's start with the first chord progression, which is used in the first part of the song and the intro. So we're going to start with an E minor chord. Now you can play this E minor in a couple of different ways, using your index and middle or middle and ring finger on the 2nd frets of the 5th and 4th string. You can use whichever fingering is more comfortable for you, transitioning to the A major chord. So the 2nd chord is an A major. I'm going to be playing this A major with my middle ring and pinky finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th, 3rd and 2nd string. And we strum from the 5th string onwards. Now, in order to ensure that the 6th string doesn't ring out when you're strumming this chord, my little tip is to use your thumb to lightly touch a string. Now, you don't have to reach your thumb over. Just having it slightly on the edge, touching that 6th string will be enough to mute it. And that's A major. With the A major, there's also different ways of playing this with your index, middle and ring finger, or you could just bar your index finger across the 2nd frets like this. Use whatever's more comfortable for you, so just experiment with it. I'm going to be using this E minor and this A major. Now my suggested strumming pattern goes like this. Down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now this strumming pattern covers the 2 bars of music, and the point at which we change to the A major is on the end beat after the 4, which is an up strum. So down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And in succession, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now that first line of chords is played through 4 times, and then our second line of chords is a D major chord, like this. So index and middle on the 2nd frets of the 3rd and 1st string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. We strum from the 4th string onwards. Again, with the D major, you definitely don't want the 6th string ringing out, otherwise it's going to sound really ugly. So I just use my thumb to lightly touch that as well. Now, if you happen to hit the 5th string, that's okay, but really we want to avoid the 6th string ringing out. The next chord is a B minor, so index on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, ring and pinky on the 4th frets of the 4th and 3rd, and middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. We can just focus on those middle 4 strings, or you could also bar your index finger across that 2nd fret so that you're also fretting down the 2nd fret of the 1st string. If you can't get that bar, then focusing on the middle 4 strings is just as good. And again, we don't want the 6th string ringing out. Now, to mute the 6th string in this instance, your index finger can just lightly touch the 6th string as it's fretting down the 5th string. So D to B minor. Now, some people might have problems transitioning from D to B minor, and my suggestion would be to just really focus on these top 2 strings to begin with, and then you can place your other fingers into place. Index and ring finger. Those 2 notes are the most important for this B minor to get that B minor sound, so really focus on getting those fingers into place first, and then the rest will fall into place over time. Those 2 chords are played with the same strumming pattern with the same change on the end beat after the 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that line of chords is played through twice. Now for the 3rd line of chords, we start with a D, but then we're going to a D sharp diminished 7. So we're going to shift this D position, right? So move it up 1 string and then shift this shape down 1 fret, and your pinky finger will go onto the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So it's very similar to the D shape. We just move it up and then down and then add our pinky finger. This is D sharp diminished 7, And then we have B7. So from this shape, we just lift our middle finger and put that on the 2nd fret of the 5th string and strum from the 5th string onwards. With this D sharp diminished 7, we're just focusing on these 4 strings here. Now these 3 chords are contained within one strumming pattern that goes like this. Down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up. And we change from the D to the D sharp diminished 7 on the end beat after the 4, which is an up strum, and then from the D sharp diminished 7 to the B7 on another up strum, which is the end beat after the 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So we're changing on the up beats there. And that's everything we need to learn for chord progression 1, which will sound like this in total. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chord progression 1 gets played through 3 times for the first half of this song, and then we get to chorus number 3, which is just the first line of chords of chord progression 1. So our E minor to A played through 4 times. So nothing really new to learn there. Then we get to verse number 3, and this is where things differ a little bit. So we're going to start with our D chord, and we're going to play this for a full 2 bars. We're going to use the strumming pattern that we previously had, but we're not changing to a second chord here. We're just going to play this one chord for the full 2 bars. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we go to a D7 chord and do the exact same thing. So from the D, we'll just shift our fingers, so middle and ring finger on the 2nd frets of the 3rd and 1st string now, and index on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. That's D7 played for a full strumming pattern. Then we go to a B7. We already know that chord. Play that for a full strumming pattern. Then for the 3rd line of chords, we go to an E major and then an F diminished 7. So it's the same as our D sharp diminished 7, but up 2 frets. And then C sharp 7. So from our F diminished 7, just take your middle ring and pinky finger position, and we're going to move that up until our ring finger is on the 5th string, and then index finger comes onto the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. So this is a C sharp 7, and we're focusing on the middle 4 strings. These 3 chords, the E, F diminished 7, and C sharp 7, are played within the one strumming pattern, and it's very similar to the D to D sharp diminished 7 and B7. We're just playing different chords, but the strumming pattern and the points at which the chords change are the same. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's it for verse 3, which is where the key change gradually happens. So it will sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So now the song has experienced a key change. So for chord progression number 2, it's basically the same as chord progression 1, but everything is moved up 2 semitones. So instead of an E minor, we move up 2 semitones. So F minor and then F sharp minor. And the same applies to all the other chords. They're just moved up 2 semitones. So we have F sharp minor, which is a bar chord like this. If bar chords are giving you trouble, then you can just focus on the top 2 strings of this, and that will be more than enough to get the same sort of sound. You can also play this F sharp minor with your ring and pinky fingers here on the 4th frets of the 5th and 4th string, and just barring your index finger across the 2nd frets of the 3rd and 2nd. That's another sort of simpler way of playing the F sharp minor if you are struggling with a bar. And then we go to a B major. So you can play that like this with all your fingers, or you can just use your index finger to hit the root note and your ring finger bar across the 4th frets of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. And that's the B chord that I'm going to use, but you could also try using this fingering as well. So that's the first line of chords, F sharp minor to B. Then the second line of chords is E major to C sharp minor. C sharp minor is the same as B minor, just shifted up 2 frets. And then the third line of chords is the same as the third line of chords that we had for that key change chord progression. So E to F sharp diminished to C sharp 7. So in total, chord progression 2 will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that second chord progression is played through 3 times for this second half of the song. And then finally there's the outro, which is really simple because it's just our F sharp minor to B major until the song fades out. So I'll just play that through 6 times and then I'll end the song with an E major at the playthrough at the end of this lesson. But in the recording, it's just going to repeat again and again until the song fades. Now, when you're transitioning between these chords, it's completely acceptable for the strum just before the change to be open strings. Now, what I mean, for example, is let's say for the E minor to the A, to help you transition, you can start lifting your fingers and that strum could be more or less an open strum as you get into your A position for the up strum. So watch this slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Notice how on that 4 beat, I started lifting my fingers to get into my A position because we want to be in the A position on the change, and slightly just before it, you can start moving your fingers. Now, what you don't want to do is start and stop your strumming hand. Your strumming hand needs to work like a motor to keep the rhythm, to keep the time, and you don't want to pause that. So that's why it is acceptable to start lifting your fingers just before the change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So you can be on that next chord, and this will apply to all the chord changes in general with this song, and as a general tip for chords and strumming as well. As you get better with chord transitions over time, you won't need to rely on that as heavily, and the fretting hand changes will get quicker to the point where you don't need those open strings. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to play all the lead guitar parts. I'm going to teach you how to play this lead guitar without a slide, but then I'll also teach you how to play it with a slide, which is more true to the original recording, of course. So let's start with the intro lead riff. There's 2 guitar parts here that are basically layered on top of one another. Let's tackle the first one. We're going to start with our index finger on the 1st string, sliding up from the 14th fret to the 16th fret. And that's on the 2 beat. So 1 and 2 and on the 3 beat, we'll go back down to the 14th fret, hit that and slide down to 12th. Now on the end beat after the 4, we'll hit this 12th fret and slide back up to the 14th fret. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now on the next bar, we're going to go back down to the 12th fret of the 1st string and then 14th fret of the 2nd string twice. And the first note is on the end beat after the 1. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So the first lick in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now the 3rd and the 4th bars are almost identical, so the first part's the same, just the ending's a little different. So in this 4th bar, after we go 12th fret and then 14th fret of the 2nd string, we're just going to hit that once, and then our final lick goes like this. So we'll slide our ring finger down to the 12th fret of the 2nd string, hit that and slide up to 14th, 12th fret of the 1st string, back to the 14th fret of the 2nd, and slide down to 12th. And this little lick will occur on the 3 beat, so 3 and 4 and... So the 3rd and the 4th bars in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... For the second line of tab, our first 2 plucks are going to be the same. So the 16th fret slide up and then the 14th to 12th fret slide down. So 1 and 2 and 3 and... On the end beat after the 4, we'll go back up to the 16th fret, hit that. And we're going to slide down in minor thirds here. So that basically means we're going to slide down 3 frets at a time. And we're going to do that again and again. So hit 16th, slide down 3 frets to 13th. And that's on the end beat after the 4. So N1. On the next end beat, we'll pluck this 13th fret again and slide down another 3 frets. N2. And we'll do that again. So pluck this on the end beat and then slide down 3 frets to the 7th fret. N3. On the next end beat, we'll pluck this 7th fret again and slide back up to the 10th fret. N4. And on the end beat off before, we go up to the 14th fret and just hit that by itself. And this slide section in total. N1, N2, N3, N4, N. For this third bar, we'll go to the 14th fret of the 2nd string, pluck that on the 1 and 2 beat, 1 and 2 and then pluck it one more time, slide down to 12th, and then 13th fret of the 3rd string, and slide that down to 11th fret. So the final lick, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's it for guitar part 1 without the slide, which sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, guitar part number 2, which is dubbed over that, it's basically identical up until we get into the second line of tab, to that slide section. So for this second guitar part, instead of starting the slide from the 16th fret of the 1st string, we're going to start with the 18th fret, slide down 3 frets, pluck it again, slide down 3 frets, pluck it again, slide down 3 frets, pluck it again, slide up 3 frets, and then end on the 15th fret of the 2nd string. And then the final lick is 14th fret of the 3rd string, pluck twice, and then pluck it one more time, slide down 1 fret, and then 14th fret of the 4th string, and slide down 1 fret as well. But everything else is the same, so I'm just going to play from that slide part. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... If you want to see both these parts in context, you can go to the lead playthrough at the end of this lesson. The only other lead part to learn is in the instrumental break section. Everything is basically the same, except we're shifting everything up 2 frets. So I'm not going to run through all the notes one by one, but everything is basically identical, just shifted up 2 frets. And there's one minor change as well, and this is in the second bar of music. In the second bar, the first 2 notes will be 14th fret and then 16th fret of the 2nd string. Then we'll pluck the 16th fret, slide down to 14th, and then 15th fret of the 3rd string. And we slide that down 2 frets. That's the only thing that really differs in this break section, but everything else is just the intro shifted up 2 frets. And in total, okay, so now I'm going to teach you how to play these lead riffs with a slide. I'm using a glass slide here and I use it on my ring finger, but there are a lot of players who like using it on their pinky finger as well. It's just personal preference, but I'm going to use my ring finger. Now, all the tab that I show you in this slide version is identical to the non-slide version. So the notes are the same, just the way that we play the notes is going to be really different. So for example, if it says 16th fret here, what we want to do is position the slide so that it's touching the string above the fret strip that's dividing 16th fret and 17th fret. So that's where we want to place our slide when we're playing these notes that you see down in the tab. You don't want to put the slide in the center of the fret. You want to put it above the fret strip dividing 16th and 17th fret. That's really the key here when we're playing with the slide. We want to be positioning it over fret strips and not in the middle of the fret. Now, another subtle thing that we'll need to do to keep the notes separated from one another is to use our picking hand as a mute. So after we pluck a note, you want to sort of drop the finger back down so that the note doesn't ring out for too long. And this is what I mean. So we slide up to 16 and I use my picking hand to mute back down. And that will just avoid notes clashing and sliding into one another, which would sound like this. It's not bad, but it doesn't have that definitive divide between the notes. So that's where our picking hand comes into play to mute back and forth. This is something you'll just need to work at. But altogether, the first lick will sound like this. When we hold on to notes like that one at the end, you can move your slide back and forth a little bit to get a bit of vibrato. Now you don't want to deviate too far from the fret strip, you just want to go back and forth around that fret strip. Now the second lick in total will sound like this. Now see how I'm using my fretting hand back and forth to mute the notes so that they don't blend into one another. That's important to getting this clear sound. The next lick, which has a lot of slides in it, and then the final lick. We put that all together in the intro guitar 1 with the slide sounds like this. Now remember, guitar part 2 is basically the same, but the slide part is a little different as shown here below in the tabs, and that will sound like this. And now when we move to the break, again, all the tab is just shifted up 2 frets essentially. There's one minor change to the lick at the start, but other than that, everything is the same, just up 2 frets. So guitar 1. And guitar part 2. If you want to see these parts in context with the song, then just skip to the playthrough at the end of this lesson. And those are all the lead guitar parts. It takes a little bit of practice. It's not the easiest slide part, but just keep practicing and you'll get there. Even I need to work on it a little bit, in my opinion. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of this song and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. Big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to this playthrough. I'll also be doing playthroughs of the lead sections as well, so you can go to the later part of the playthroughs and there you'll see the lead parts played in context with the song. Feel free to play these back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.